Advice: my 29 meters partner's 29F. Recent change in body hair maintenance is causing problems in our life-throwaway account because, I'll be honest, unsure if this is my AITA moment. My partner, 29F, and I, 29 meters, have been together for just over 2 years now, living together for the last 6 months. We are very happy, generally very good at communicating, and have a life that works for both of our drives. I say that because we agreed we're good at about twice a week and don't mind if it drops to once if we're busy or spend time other ways instead. However, about a month ago I had some medical issues and we didn't have it all. We finally did a week ago, and while it was great and fun, she hadn't shaved or trimmed in a while, which ended up being a pretty bad experience for me. There's no shame in any body hair, however my partner only from and I love pleasing her, so it's the most consistent act in our life. But it was so much hair that, without any other way to put this, more than just some regular sweat and wetness was trapped/dried in the hair, and I did not know how to tell her. We still had our fun, but I was really fighting back how gross I felt knowing what was going into my mouth. In case my subtext isn't clear, I'm talking about, even before we met and all through our relationship, she usually trimmed and this has never been an issue. So I thought maybe it was that way last time was because she knew we wouldn't be having for a while because of my medical issue. I don't ask her to, it used to be her preference. But I was so off-put last time that it's been a whole week again. Today we had again, and she hadn't gone back to old habit, which ended up resulting in the same experience for me. I also feel guilty for self-abandoning because this feels like a boundary I should have set up sooner after the first time. But I don't know how to bring it up. Earlier this week she was telling me how recently she has been having a lot of negative body image perceptions and thoughts, so my main worry is that me asking about this will pile on to that. And I don't want to go down again while she hasn't trimmed, but am worried I won't be able to bring up my concern and will do so regardless because that's our main option for her in the bedroom. Any advice on how to bring this up gently is greatly appreciated. TLDR: GF of 2 years has recently stopped trimming and the hair is so long that dried is a problem, and I don't know how to ask her to trim because her self-image has not been great recently. How could I gently bring this up without it being triggering? Edit. Thanks everyone who has commented. From the majority of the comments though I realize I need to clarify a few things and want to add some more details. 1. This is not about shaving. Shaving means we want hairless. Having some hair adds an extra layer of stimulation for my partner, so her and I both preferred trimmed on her instead. 2. Tried asking about showering last time we had. I went and showered, she didn't. Also, you don't need to shower before every time, even if you prefer to. 3. This is about her mental health. The suggestions of just talk to her, yeah, my ask is literally how could I gently bring this up without it being triggering? I do not want to pile on to her recent negative body image perceptions. 4. If you're going to suggest laser hair removal, don't, and instead please close Reddit for the day. Greater than more than just some regular sweat and wetness was trapped/dried in the hair, so start insisting on pre-coital bathing. Hygiene is important no matter how long the hair is or how nice the body is. How about having a shower together for foreplay? This has nothing to do with the hair and everything to do with your partner's poor hygiene habits. I don't feel like it's or anything like that, for one because I don't shave and I never have. Just dry and stick to the hair like that. What does and needs to be cleaned sometimes more thoroughly is discharge. Discharge is more likely to be what's dried and sticking to the hair. It's not a hair problem really. Why isn't she washing up? I just tell my so to hop in the shower before sexy time. I'm not going to go down on him when he's all sweaty and gross from the day. It's not a big deal. Just ask her to wash up and maybe add that you love it when she is clean shaven. Are you sure it was? Like sometimes discharge will get stuck in hair and dry up. If it's, I think the problem is her hygiene habits, not how long she let her pubes grow. I've never heard of ladies having dried in their hair. This sounds like she's not cleaning herself properly. This isn't about the hair. This isn't a hair issue but more a hygiene issue. As a person with A who doesn't shave, I make sure to shower every time before expected intimacy as well as partners who are also unshaved. I would talk to her gently and let her know that to give her the satisfaction she likes, you would prefer if you both take showers beforehand. My partner and I have an agreement that any spontaneity that occurs and hygiene is an issue, we will simply request a shower. So if my partner decides to go down on me randomly and it needs washed, he will simply say, "Let's take a shower." We have a stand-up shower that only comfortably fits one person, but those times we manage to squeeze in and start foreplay in there. What does dried up on hair look like? I'm the owner of an occasionally hairy, and I can't even imagine what you'd be seeing. Maybe you mean discharge? Discharge is a thing you'd be able to see dried onto hair. But all fluids aside, you can 1. Ask her to shower or use a wipe before you go down on her, and 2. Pull the hair up and away from where your mouth is going. You don't have to get hair in your mouth, move it aside. Hey op, this is embarrassing but I hope that sharing it helps you and your girlfriend. Your girlfriend mentioned feeling bad about herself and her body. When I feel depressed I also stop doing a lot of self-care, including washing properly. This is gross, I know, but for a month during a particularly bad time in my life, I just stopped wiping after I peed. I felt like, why bother, my body is worthless, I'm worthless, I deserve to feel gross about it. It's like I needed to do something to my body to make it as gross as I felt that it was, especially when everyone around me was still telling me how pretty I was while I was mentally spiraling out. It was like my own personal grossness to confirm I'm as awful as I thought I was. I didn't even deserve that level of self-respect that comes with wiping, I guess. I don't know, it's hard to describe, but it was one of the dirtiest, grossest stages of my life, and it was all because of low self-esteem and depression. So I would not recommend phrasing this as any way that sounds like criticism, because when people are hating on themselves already, they see even ambiguous comments as attacks. Maybe something like, "I have noticed that you seem to be struggling with accepting how wonderful your body really is lately, how amazing you actually are. I'm worried that you may not be feeling like your body deserves the self-care that it does, because I've noticed that you've changed your cleansing habits around your privates. There has been residue in your pubes recently. I'm not a big fan of the taste of, and I love the taste of you, so I was hoping that we could talk about this. It doesn't seem like your usual behavior, and I want to give you any extra support or reassurances that you may be needing from me right now. This isn't about my preference for your pubes, the change is just what pushed me to bring this up. The point of this is to tell you that I love you, and that I'm concerned that I'm not giving you the support that you need right now. What can I do to make you feel loved? Unfortunately our apartment's showers are tiny, smiley face. Poor hygiene habits. That being said, communication. Op needs to bring this up to his partner. Granted we can offer advice, but communication is key. Could very well be. Since I am not the owner of the same type of equipment downstairs, I can't make a great judgment about what best habits are. However, this definitely didn't seem sanitary even for just daily life. Since it was never a problem before, meaning never anything outside of what I've experienced going down on her or any other partner in terms of bodily fluids, the only thing I know for certain is the hair. My worry is that since I've never asked in 2 years, could that possibly make her negatively reflect more on her body image? Also, doesn't even need to be clean-shaven. In fact, and perhaps she's told me a little bit of hair down there gives some extra stimulation for her. But this is definitely beyond that. This doesn't, dry on things in a noticeable way. If it was making hairs stick together or change texture, it's not. But if it's gross to you, have after washing, it would be totally normal to ask if she could shower or wash her before though. It doesn't have to be a big deal. My wife and I have been known to jump up in the middle of and have a quick sluice if we discover things taste a bit sweaty. She goes first and you do a sexy dance beside the shower. When she is finished, You swap. Was that a pun? I promise you that most women with hair don't have dried all over them. This is a hygiene issue. Something else is going on. Is she depressed? Maybe this is a sign that she's struggling mentally. You said she's had noticeably negative body image. Maybe it's literally a depressive episode. One of the first things to go wonky is personal hygiene and the energy to do the things you usually do, like trimming. Not saying that letting it grow is poor hygiene, absolutely normal thing to do, but it's a weird coincidence that she would stop paying attention to it, and the cleanliness of it at all instead of just skipping the trimming because of comfort, you know what I mean? However, maybe she simply doesn't notice that the hair gets a bit yucky quickly, because she's being trimmed. I think in order to avoid hurting her in case she's struggling, definitely open it up under the premise that this is new, and a change, so you're naturally both making a few small discoveries about this without judgment. Hey love, I fully support you growing out your hair, because I know it's a lot of work to maintain a trim all the time, and it's just natural, but I noticed last time I went down that the hair just holds onto stuff more, which is less enjoyable for me. Can we both wash up quick before? It's honestly hygiene, what you're describing. Source: I'm old enough to remember the time before shaving was common, and natural bush is my jam. I mean, you don't seriously believe that women who don't shave walk around with dried up on themselves at all times, do you? I mean, don't want to have. It's not unkind to suggest let's take a shower and wash up if you're going to put your face and mouth in /on/around someone's genitals. Is anything else going on with her, because changes to hygiene are often associated with depression? In another reply I mentioned how I heavily suggested we both shower because I needed one before we had yesterday. She simply didn't while I went and showered. I just wanted you to know I read sexy as snake and am now envisioning someone butt just twiggling around outside the shower booth. Who said it's dry? Every educated adult knows about the female discharge down there. But maybe OP isn't able to recognize it as such? Who the GF should just wash herself beforehand and it should be fine. Thank you for being one of the very few people to remember that the post mentions my worry about bringing this up to her involves not piling on to her negative perceptions about her body. She and I have done mental health check-ins once a week since we've started dating 2 years ago, and this the first time her self-image has gotten this bad. I like the idea of bringing up that it's new and a change. I was really focusing on how I didn't want it to sound like I was trying to shame her, but being curious about why it's happening and then talking about what that change brings with it feels like a neutral territory rather than hey, this is gross for me, go change it, like so many others are saying. Thank you. I think this is the approach that will work with our dynamic. This was another thought I had. We've had 2 checks in with each other and nothing has come up in the mental health department besides her recent negative fixations on her body. She's unsure of why that's been happening as well. A worry is that a big factor is due to our life taking a long dive from my medical issue, and hasn't bounced back to where it was quickly because of this. Sorry, to clarify, I'm not saying you should heavily suggest that you both shower. That's sort of coy and skirting around the real issue. I'm suggesting you do something more along the lines of gently saying, hey GF, I love tasting your natural flavor when I go down on you, but now you've got longer hair. It seems to be interfering with that. Could you give it a wash first? I know her mental health is an issue and I think you need a separate conversation about depression. But with this part, you guys are in an intimate relationship. You should feel comfortable if one another points out you have a booger in your nose or you smell sweaty or you've got on your pubes. Greater than, in case my subtext isn't clear, I'm talking about, it's right there in the op. My hurts at this statement. All that aside, she can have whatever body hair she wants, but you're not obligated to put it in your mouth, especially if it isn't clean. She can have a mature reaction to the idea of if you can't finish any other way, let's have it be pleasant for everyone involved, or the bedroom dies. Like there's really no 2 ways about it. You don't get to be gross and difficult. Fairly sure she isn't saying shove a soap bar up your hoo. Washing the external parts of A with soap and water is pretty standard hygiene. Please wash the exterior. The only self-cleaning part is the actual itself. Oh yeah, soap is defo needed to wash booty holes. Sorry, crying face. You can use soap anywhere hair grows, its inner lips and that don't need soap.